What might we become if every day we lived in a world where kindness is a law, where the boundaries of love and acceptance extend as far as the gentle ringing of a welcome bell? This is the soul-deep invitation of Konohana Kitan, an anime and manga that unfolds in a timeless land, on the threshold between the mortal world and somewhere entirely magical. A place where lost souls seek solace, spirits take tea, and young fox girls learn, slowly, graciously, what it means to care for themselves and each other. Yuzu's first step inside the gates of Konohana marks the simple beginning of a luminous journey. One she takes with a small travel pouch, a heart full of open hope, and very little understanding of the traditions or rules that govern such a venerable inn. Raised in the tranquility of remote mountains, orphaned and innocent, Yuzu comes seeking nothing more than a place to belong. A wish as fragile as the flower her name evokes, she is met by the poised and steely Kiri, the inn's head attendant and its living pillar, and is introduced to her new life as one of a bevy of kitsune attendants whose responsibility is to serve the constant flux of guests, both gods and mortals, who cross the inn's barrier gates. Where Yuzu brings light and eagerness, the staff she meets reveals a spectrum of complexities. Satsuki, the first and most important to Yuzu's fate, is a model of diligence and ambition, eyes always a little guarded, quick to scold, but even quicker to shoulder the burdens others leave unclaimed. Initial encounters between Yuzu and Satsuki are as awkward as they are tender. Satsuki bristling at Yuzu's mistakes, and Yuzu apologizing with an almost desperate sincerity, determined to prove herself worthy of this new home. Yet in each small disaster, tea trays spilled, linens folded backwards, misplaced offerings, there is an undercurrent of intimacy, the seed of something precious. If only either would slow down long enough to see it. Daily chores at Konohana become more than perfunctory rituals. They ripple outward into moments of gentle communion. As the two clean, cook, and bathe guests, Yuzu's naivete blunts Satsuki's well-worn edge. Most notably, Satsuki discovers Yuzu's ability to listen without judgment and finds, almost against her will, that her own anxious need for perfection is soothed by Yuzu's easy laughter. They become unlikely confidants, Satsuki reluctant, Yuzu persistent. And in the soft blushes and steadying glances, in the silences that settle as comfortably as the warmest futon, affection begins to take root. The inn itself is a liminal spirit, a character as central as any of the Fox Girls. Its guests arrive from every edge of folklore, forlorn children between worlds, gods on moonlit errands, grieving lovers seeking last farewells, or vengeful spirits yearning not for revenge but redemption. Yuzu's open heart draws her especially to the most troubled wanderers, a pale, confused girl who cannot move on, a lonely god who finds gentleness for the first time, a soul who teaches Yuzu that every act of service, no matter how small, is a kind of love. Through these encounters, Yuzu finds her own shape not merely as an attendant, but as a compassionate anchor for others. In learning the art of hospitality, of making the transient comfortable, of feeding both body and soul, Yuzu begins to weave herself into the very fabric of Konohana. Throughout the tumult of the seasons, the budding closeness between Yuzu and Satsuki becomes the secret spine of this world. Early rivalry gives way, almost imperceptibly, to understanding. There is a subtle choreography to their affection, a shared meal here, the hesitant brush of a tail there, fingers lingering a moment too long over a plate, voices softening in the quiet aftermath of a festival's end. The texture of their connection is sapphic in its slow build and reticence, an intimacy wrapped in ordinary acts, protected by the innate safety of daily practice. When Satsuki stays late to help Yuzu perfect her tea ceremony, or Yuzu brings a carefully chosen flower to Satsuki after a long day, viewers sense the changing temperature between them, the way contentment deepens into longing. Parallel to this central partnership are the spirited, often comedic dances between the other girls. Natsume, the tomboy, bickers with and dotes on Ren, who is all long hair and outward grace, hiding a soft core that only Natsume's care can reach. Their scenes crackle with mutual adoration, the brashness of Natsume's teasing given meaning when Ren falls ill, and Natsume quietly spends the night at her bedside, trusting the darkness to hide both her anxiety and her tenderness. Sakura, the small, mysterious child with glimpses of wisdom far beyond her years, and Kiri herself, both offer lessons to the others about patience, memory, and the real, sometimes hidden cost of kindness. Every guest at Konohana brings with them an echo of a lesson or a shadow of the girl's own struggles. When Yuzu is tasked with comforting a spirit who cannot forgive herself, she learns that forgiveness must first be offered to the self. Satsuki, pressed by guests' demands and her own rigor, discovers that even the best intentions can sour when not balanced with compassion for one's limits. Natsume and Ren's care for a foundling child teaches them about courage and gentle acceptance. The very walls of the inn seem to echo with these stories, each more evidence that it is our bonds, tentative, stubborn, delicate, that rescue us from despair or oblivion. The pinnacle of intimacy for Yuzu and Satsuki comes not through dramatic declarations, but through small, cumulative acts of trust. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, as lanterns float and music drifts through the night air, Satsuki notices how Yuzu's presence has changed her. Her loneliness has faded, her ambition tempered by patience and even joy. The two share a moment alone under the moon, hands finding each other naturally, quietly affirming that home isn't just a place, but a person you can trust to see all your hidden sorrows and smile at you anyway. Somewhere in that hush, the rustle of foxtails, the overlapping heartbeats, there lies a confession. I like you best, exactly as you are. There is no final, showy confession in Konohana Kitan. No one is forced to pick labels, no heartbreak is manufactured for spectacle. Instead, the girls simply build and protect a life together, their devotion proving itself every day, in crisis, in shared laughter, in the unwavering assurance that whatever happens on the border between worlds, in this inn they are safe and seen. Their lives are allowed to be deeply sapphic, not in spite of normality, but through it. In the very ordinariness of their meals, their chores, their slow dances through seasons and storms, the true romance is found, a comfort and connection for which many of us, in any world, might yearn. What remains at the end is a sense of open-endedness, the promise of more gentle tomorrows. Yuzu and Satsuki walk daily through the inn's gardens, joined by their friends, meeting every new guest with an ever-expanding compassion. Their hands sometimes entwined, sometimes just close, their gazes soft but unflinching. They have remade themselves and their world not through contest or conquest, but through sustained and chosen care. Their story ends and begins in the rhythm of another bell, signaling another guest, another season changing in the mountains, another opportunity to love the world and each other well. The lessons of Konohana Kitan are as soft and essential as breath. That family is something you choose and build daily. That healing comes from tending to others and yourself with equal patience. That love, especially women's love, often grows strongest in the presence of gentleness instead of drama. You don't have to change the world to be worthy of home. Sometimes, simply saying yes to each new day, to strange guests, to wild children, and to a partner's shy smile is enough. If stories of tenderness, belonging, and quiet, radical love move you, be sure to like, subscribe, and join this growing circle, because every heart, just like every guest at Konohana, deserves a story where they can find their way home. Thank you for letting this one into yours.